All right, so this is my review on Dexter New Blood, episode 3. Yeah, episode 3. It premiered about 2 weeks ago, I believe. And I'm really late doing the review, but I had family come in. I had, whenever people come in town, then my whole energy, my whole focus is just off balance and just not right. But yeah, I finally have some alone time and I can actually focus. So when I saw episode 3 at first, there wasn't really much I felt I could say about it. It was just an episode. But when I watched it, I believe when I watched episode 3, other people were there watching it with me. And whenever I watch anything for the first time around people, I can't properly absorb it right. I have to be by myself to watch something and really get something, really feel anything from it. So when I watched episode 3, it just felt like an episode. So it just felt boring. It just an episode, regular. Nothing stood out. So I just rewatched it by myself. Luckily, the second time you watch something, it feels shorter, to me anyway. So I did rewatch the episode just now, and I did notice a few things. So I'm just going to mention the few things that I did notice about the episode. I thought the episode was pretty good overall. Yeah. So anyway, well, one thing that I noticed that I felt from the episode, Harrison had his meeting and the teachers were telling Dexter, hey, your son, he's smart. Or, he got his GPA went from this to that in such a short time. And then they also brought Dexter in and told him, hey, your son scored high on a test. And Dexter was like, okay, why is that a bad thing? Anyway, I guess the principal was saying, that he may have cheated because of how high the score was. A lot of times with children or with people, especially when or we have children, we have kids that are younger. Sometimes all they really need is just for us to have. They need their parents to have their back, and maybe it's not understandable all the time. Maybe it is. I don't know, but maybe it's not understandable all the time. But sometimes, kids, they're still younger people. They're still trying to figure out. Our kids are gonna try and figure out right and wrong. We're all still trying to figure out what's right and wrong. Younger people are still exploring and things like that. So sometimes, you know, our kids just need us to just be there, even if things are wrong and they didn't know that they were wrong. You know, sometimes kids just need us to be there, and they need us to have our back, or they need their parents to have their back. Harrison didn't cheat. He was actually smart, and sometimes as a parent, you just gotta be there to just have your child's back when they need it is all. And by doing that, it allows the children. It's so weird to actually try and talk about this and not. You know what? I'm just gonna make it easier. And sometimes when sometimes just our kids need to feel safe. They need that blanket. They need that mental reassurance that, hey, my parent has my back if things go bad, if things go wrong. No matter what the situation is, no matter what it is, that idea will still be planted in their mind. A subconscious emotional feeling that, hey, my parent has my back. If things go wrong, I have someone who has my back. And by you proving that you have their back, that gives that security blanket subconsciously. and that can also help a relationship in other ways and can help things not escalate in other areas of the relationship, and our children won't be so your child won't be so distant, and when things do get bad, they can feel safe enough or comfortable enough to open up to you. Um, yeah, so that was one message that I got. I'm kind of skipping through the episode right now, but yeah, that was just a very important message that I got. Another thing I noticed, which is going to be very hard to explain, when Angela, Dexter's girlfriend, and Kurt were talking over the phone, at some point in the episode, I remember Angela was saying, people like Kurt always kind of looked down on her and thought that she wasn't good at her job or whatever. And, she messed up and made some mistakes, and Kurt now had ammo to throw it back in her face. And, after her feeling bad and everything, at one point, I guess toward the middle of the episode, even though things were bad and rough, she stood up for herself and she really put herself out there. And she's like, hey, you can call me, you can throw this ammo at me and you can say that I'm doing a bad job, but this is what I am accomplishing right now. And this is what is happening right now. And the moment she actually did stand up for herself and say, hey, this is the truth. This is what's going on right now. This is how it is. I'm actually doing something. She's accomplishing something. And the moment that she actually did have that power within herself to actually come out and say that, then he did kind of lower his tone and understand that, okay, so some progress is happening. Sometimes when we're talking with people, at times as we're communicating, they can, sometimes what we throw at them is what they throw back at us. But it's sometimes the energy that we have within ourselves and how we project that at other people. Sometimes, most of the time, that's how they project it back at us. It's not always how we say something. Sometimes it's about the energy, the source of why we said something. It's not what we say, it's the why we say it. And on some subconscious level, people can pick that up and they can sense that. So you can even say something to somebody and they'll be like, oh, you say something tough, but I can still sense that at your core, you're still scared. And people can call you out on it. It may not be on purpose. People are very subconscious. They just kind of react to emotions and energy as they're processed through the brain. A lot of times people don't actually think or act, they just kind of react to what it is that's they're feeling. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave that in. So anyway, so yeah, that's just a word of advice, something that I picked up, that if you're going to talk to somebody, if someone's going to look down at you or make you feel bad about you doing your own job or make you feel bad about what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, just think about, what it is you are doing, right? What it is you have done, what it is you are doing, what you're working for, and just recognize that sometimes mistakes are made, but that doesn't define your whole ethic of anything that you do. And if someone wants to judge you on that, you can be like, hey, this is what I have done, so it can also be reassuring for yourself, but it can also allow a sense of respect between you and the other person. A lot of times people will walk over you and they will do disrespectful things until you stand up and you do establish some sense of respect. An idea, example just popped into my head and then popped out as soon as it got there. But just keep that in mind. But that's just another thing that I noticed is the respect thing. And yeah, okay, sorry, I just remembered. It was Samuel Jackson when he was filming Spiral one of the Saw movies when Samuel Jackson was in there. The director was saying that he was a little intimidated by Samuel Jackson, and Samuel Jackson was like, "I think I'm gonna stand here. I think I'm gonna do this, or this. I'll be in this position. I'll dress like this, or whatever." And I guess the director talked to another director or producer or something, who worked with Samuel Jackson, and he was saying Samuel Jackson is gonna poke at you, and he's gonna test you. He's gonna see what can he kind of get away with to test you, to see how far you're going to go to fight for what you believe in or to fight for what you want. And so the director had to tell Samuel Jackson, they're making the Saw movie, he was like, hey, I'm the director, this is how it's going to be, and this is what you're going to do and everything. Of course, it was. So when he did that, Samuel Jackson was like, okay, I got it. You weren't so easily intimidated, and you stood up for what you believed in, and for that I'm going to respect you as a director. But sometimes it's like that, and sometimes you have to do that. You have to fight for what you believe in. You have to fight for who you are and what your vision is, even if your vision is even if your vision is self-image of yourself. Sometimes you just got to fight for that. Angela, at some point in the story, Angela was talking with an older woman I'm not sure who she is at this point in the story. I think this was her first episode, but as she was talking to her, Angela was saying, hey, I need to talk to so-and-so. And the woman was like, no, he's been sick. He has nothing to do with this situation. And Angela had to persist on it and say, hey, I'm doing my job and this is what I need to do. And at heart she was like, you have to understand that I'm doing my job, because that's just my job. I'm doing it as if it were one of us. I'm not sure exactly what she meant by that. This might be a family person, but and that's also what I was saying about her and Kurt is I see a lot in this episode of fighting for what you care about. And yeah, sometimes people are gonna try and tell you no, and it's possible to be nice and still stand your ground and have people understand where you're coming from and say, hey, this is what needs to happen. This needs to be the end result of a situation, and I am being nice. I am being kind about the whole thing. And it's possible. A lot of people think, oh, you need to stand your ground and be tough, and that means being mean to other people, and it doesn't. You can still be strong and fight for what you believe in or for what you're trying to get to, and still be a nice person. The next part, I kind of feel uncomfortable talking about it, but because people are stupid these days, and you give anyone a piece of advice and they can take it the wrong way, and situations could end up worse. But I'll be quick. If there is a bullying situation, one thing that we can do, is try and tell our child or whoever, hey, if you have a bully at school, or if you're standing up to a bully, you don't have to go all out with them. Just get your point across to back off. And usually once you do that, then the bully will back off. Once you get your point across to leave me alone, or to leave this defenseless person alone, a lot of times people don't know how to stand up for themselves, and sometimes we do see that, and we feel within ourselves to help out this person. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if it's an instinctual thing. Just, yeah, piece of advice, just get the point across, and doesn't have to go that far, doesn't have to go too far. But once you do, get your point across, you may be met with some type of retaliation. But if that happens, then you got to stand your ground. and you have to learn how to stand in your power and stand in your authentic self and in who you are. You don't just, yeah, just yeah, stand in who you are, and you can probably still be cool with people and still be buddies with them, which is kind of stretching it a little bit, but you can still, but just get the point across with bullies, especially if you're friends with a bully. Just kind of let them know, like, hey, back off this person, and get that point across to make them back off, and you guys can still be cool. You can still be cool with them. It's their choice if they want to still be cool with you. But if you feel like something's wrong, even if it's your friends, still stand up. You don't have to be a part of the bullying. Just because your friends bully somebody does not mean that you have to be a part of it just to be cool or to fit in with them. You can still be cool with them and still tell them, hey, that's not cool what you're doing to this person. It's cruel. Bad things can happen. They could hurt themselves, or, it's not cool. But, yeah, I just wanted to say that that's a possible route, depending on how you handle it, and talk to your kids or talk to whoever about situations like that. Yeah. All right. So, just skipping ahead a little bit. Another thing that goes back to the original message I was saying about having your kids back. Sometimes, our kids are gonna, do what they feel is right, what they in their heart think is right, and sometimes when they do that thing, we can't just say, hey, you did something without my permission, or you did something without telling me, so therefore you are punished and I'm going to yell at you. Sometimes we don't always have to do that. It's not always the right solution. Sometimes just having a talk and saying, hey, I have your back on this. It's all right what you did, and just having that one-on-one talk with them and saying that you support what it is that they're doing, even if what they did was a little, annoying or bothersome, then it's okay to just say, okay, well, situation's done, situation's over with, then, I'm here, it's okay to be honest with me. You don't have to always go behind my back and do things without telling me. It's okay. It's good to have just that one-on-one normal neutral talk with kids. A lot of times what parents will do is they'll just yell at their kid for doing something wrong, and it's just like, you don't always have to yell. Sometimes it's okay to just have a one-on-one conversation with them. I picked up on that during the dinner table scene. But yeah, last thing I'll say. No, I think it's the last thing I'll say. There's still 4 minutes left, almost 4 minutes left. By nature, we stand up for what we care about. We stand up for what it is that we just love and appreciate and cherish. So sometimes when it would make sense why, when our kids are in a situation that we just want our parent to have our back, because what we do is we just stand up for what it is we care about. So it would make sense when our child does something wrong that they expect us to have their back, because it's second nature to just defend what you care about and just defend what you love. Sometimes it's not always right. Like sometimes, especially growing up where I grew up in like the South Valley area, when someone would have a sister or a sibling and they'll completely make up a lie about somebody and will start a whole beef, a whole fight, a whole dramatic situation that led to violence. And sometimes the brother will find out that his sister was lying, and he'll say, oh, I don't care. You still got on my sister's bad side, and I'm still going to defend her. And it's like, well, that she lied because of whatever reason, because she knows that she has brothers that will defend her, and for whatever reason she just made up this lie 'cause she doesn't like a person. Like when it comes to stuff like that, we have to be careful because, yeah, it's second nature. It's good to, to defend family and defend, but at the same time, and again, this is me breaking my own rule. I said that I wouldn't give my personal thoughts or beliefs in my messages, that the message is solely what I saw, what I'm doing a review for. And I'm kind of breaking my own rule by saying this or explaining this, but I just feel uncomfortable saying, oh, it's, defend what you care about. It's fine because, sometimes it's not fine. And like I said, I grew up and things always were always bad. So, but yeah, just to give a better understanding. I'll say that to give a better understanding on why kids need or feel like they may need us to have their back is because instinctually as humans we fight for what we love and what we care about, and when our kids do something wrong or we do something wrong, sometimes subconsciously we expect our parent to have our back and say, hey, there's a bad situation happening, but I know that you're going to be there to protect me or to have my back when I really need you the most. And sometimes we don't all have that, but for anyone reading this, listening to this, who can relate, there's just some advice there. And yeah, I think that's about it. I Yeah, I really appreciate the direction that this new season of Dexter is going in. And yeah, I really like Dexter New Blood. Like I said, I have no expectations of it. And I really like that it's revolving around parenting. A lot of things seem to be revolving around parenting these days because there's just so much, bad parenting going on, and uh, hurtful parenting going on, whether it's intentional or not. And a lot of media tries to help us with these issues, and I appreciate Dexter doing that too. And I'm not sure why I sound so nasally right now over my recording. I just went back and edited, and yeah, in my head I sound the exact same all the time. And when I edit some of these, my voice always. Anyway, thank you for listening, and have a great day. Do the best you can with what you got, and always keep inspiring others. Have a good night.